Hello and good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and my dear children. My name is Akshara,
And I am Palak.
and it gives me immense pleasure to welcome all of you to the 10th week of Read On Children's Literature Festival Season 2. Brought to you by Alchemy Arts and Education Foundation, this charitable organization will facilitate performing arts to the last mile and also provide performing platforms for truly deserving talents from various uh, platforms spanning across India. The main objective of Read On is to encourage, motivate, and help the children explore the world of literature through fun and experiential learning.
Here at Read On, it's not only the participants and the guests who get to participate in their event, you guys, the audience, get to join in too. We've all heard of famous poets, authors, and playwrights, and we have also read a lot of books. Let's have a fun contest to test your knowledge on literature. Today, we have two questions lined up for the audience, and whoever gives the correct answer first will win a special prize. Don't worry, the prize will be delivered to you at home. On to the performances. This week, we have 21 participants performing poems and speeches. Our first participant for today is Aneesh Anand. Did you know the poem Where the Mind is Without Fear was written in 1930, 34 years before our independence by Rabindranath Tagore? It represents Tagore's vision of a new and awakened India.
Wow, that's interesting. Now, Anish is going to perform the poem Where the Mind is Without Fear by Rabindranath Tagore. The stage is all yours, Anish.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Aneesh Anand, and today I'm going to recite the poem Where the Mind is Without Fear by Rabindranath Tagore. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake.
Thank you for the wonderful performance.
Fantasy uses supernatural elements and magic, while realism focuses on fidelity to everyday life.
Now let's see what Sadhana has to say about fantasy and realism. Over to you, Sadhana.
Thank you. So, before we begin, let's imagine a quick scenario. It's a good Tuesday morning. You've been wearing your cloak to board the Hogwarts Express with your owl in hand as you dramatically wave back to your parents. You excitedly relish in the idea of magic. Well, psych, it's actually 1760 and it's the Industrial Revolution time in Britain. Or you could be in India on the front lines striving for independence. Or you could be in France under the rule of Louis XVI. The thing is, there's so much happening around us every day. There should be some way to artistically convey and depict our everyday lives, right? Especially literature, considering it's a broad consensus of everything we've ever recorded. And literature does have a genre. It's called realism. And if you got the answer right or predicted it, bingo, bullseye, right on the money. Now, before I elaborate further, let me extend a heartfelt thank you to the people listening to me today. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, the germs and the stray cat outside my house right now. I am Sadhana Venkatesh, and today I'll talk about two different genres of literature, realism and fantasy. So let's start off with realism. Realism in the arts is an accurate, detailed, unembellished depiction of nature or contemporary life. Realism takes an approach to represent the matter truthfully, without any artificiality and avoiding any supernatural elements. So you won't be finding fairies, demons, or a Hermione Granger in there. The thing about realism, it can also be viewed as a broad view on daily and contemporary life. It shows everyday activities more attuned to the middle and lower classes of society without romanticizing or dramatizing any of its content. So now that we have a brief understanding of what the genre is, let's delve into the characteristics of it. So, to no one's surprise, realism focuses on reality. The characters are actually more important than the action and plot. The characters have a display of emotion, of human qualities. There are wide display of emotions such as insecurities, temper, selfishness. An analysis of thought and feeling is always present. There is frequent use of colloquial speech and natural vernacular diction. And the words used are not heightened or poetic. Okay, so now to understand it better and for you to explore the genre, I'll recommend some books. War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy, The Catcher in the Rye by D.J. Salinger, Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, and Kafka on the Shore by Haruki Murakami. Now gear up, muggles, as I school you on what fantasy has to offer. Fantasy is a genre of literature that features magical and supernatural elements that do not exist in the real world. Although some writers set their real world with fantasy elements, many create entirely imaginary universes with their own physical laws, logic, and population of imaginary races and creatures. Now, some characteristics that define the genre and can also be classified as tropes: good versus evil, a heroic quest for power or knowledge, the individual versus the society around them, and coming of age. What sets fantasy apart from its other genres is ironically its relevance to reality. Stories may speak to an actual human condition, but they do so with a fantastical elements such as magic, prophecies, or the idea of a chosen one, and even the scary thoughts of an impending doom. While all writing requires fantasy and imagination, the genre is a playground for those who want to push the limit of reality, allowing for works that enrich our ability to dream, and they encrust our own cloud with a silver lining. Fantasy and realism are both genres that hold an ability to offer us a very different viewpoints. But as I put it, fantasy lets you build your own world, while realism lets you explore your own. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It was a joy meeting you today. Bye.
Wow, Sadhana, that was a lovely performance.
Akshara, I have a question for you. What is your favorite book?
Favorite book? Oh, of course. How could I forget? Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Now, Ankita is going to talk about her favorite book. Over to you, Ankita.
Mommy, if you ever send me to school, I shall be so naughty that they shall send me back home. Hi, I'm Ankita Alvin, and this is how my favorite book, The Naughtiest Girl in School, begins. My favorite author, Enid Blyton, has written this book. Judging from the title of the book, you must have decided that this book is going to be about a naughty, stuck-up girl. Yes, Elizabeth Allen is a single child whose wonderful parents have bought her so many beautiful things that she turns out into a spoiled little girl, used to getting whatever she wants. This is why her parents decided to send her to a boarding school called Whiteleaf. Elizabeth doesn't want to go to the school, and when her parents force her, she decides to be so naughty there that the school would send her back home. But Whiteleaf turns out to be a delightful place with so many interesting people that Elizabeth slowly starts changing and learning about discipline and kindness, while the other children at school hate her for being so spoiled. They couldn't resist the little girl's charm, and Elizabeth soon starts making friends. Now, why do I like this book? Well, I started reading this book when schools were closed for the pandemic. This book took me to an awesome school called the White Leaf. Just like in my school, this school has earnest teachers, fun games, mischievous students, and tales of friendship. As I read about Elizabeth's adventures in school, I felt as if I was reading about my school. It made me miss my school and enjoy her school. I completed this book and every book in this series, joining Elizabeth and her friends in their school journey. And did I tell you? Enid Blyton wrote this book in 1940. Now, if a book written in 1940 can inspire a girl to like school in 2021, shouldn't it be incredible? Read this book and I'm sure you will agree with me. Thank you.
Wow, Ankita, that was a splendid performance. The first tragedy, Gorboduc, was written by Thomas Sackville and Thomas Norton around 1562.
Wow, that's interesting. Now we have Vihan who is going to talk about the evolution of English drama. Over to you.
Good evening, everyone. This is Vihan Gupta, and I would like to talk on the evolution of English drama. English drama has a long history. It was born in the cradle of religion. It was used as a part of church festivities during Christmas, Easter, and such religious days. It offered religious instructions. Very often, it recreated the lives of the prophets and seers. Such plays were called mysteries and miracles. Since they preached morals, they grew into miracle plays. To add popular entertainment, short interludes were included in such plays. Soon, secular drama dealing with court life emerged. Under the influence of the Greek and Latin, comedies, tragedies, and tragic comedies emerged. The Elizabethan age, otherwise called the age of Shakespeare, was the golden age of English drama. It became a part of social life and started dealing with a variety of subjects. Shakespeare wrote many types of plays. His tragedies like Othello, King Lear, and Hamlet are famous even today. His comedies like As You Like It and The Twelfth Night are appreciated by all. His dialogues enrich the English language and he has portrayed all types of characters. Scholars have read a philosophy of life in his plays. He was a great genius, not of an age but of all time. However, after the age of Shakespeare, there was an eclipse of drama. It continued to nearly 3 centuries, though there were flashes of dramatic greatness now and then in men like Goldsmith, Sheridan, and a few others. It was in the last part of the 19th and the early part of the 20th century that there was a real revival of drama. Under the European influence, English drama assumed various dimensions reflecting the philosophic and cultural trends of the age. It developed a social commitment in place of men like Bernard Shaw, Galsworthy, and others. It also acquired a poetic, symbolic dimension in place of Eliot, Yeats, and the modern dramatists. Thus, English drama has evolved down the centuries. It is now a rich treasure house of wisdom. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Wow, keep it up, Vihan. Now we have our first question. Before going to the question, there are a few rules.
You will have to WhatsApp your answers to the number displayed here 9841327673. The first person who sends it their answer gets to win a special prize. Don't worry, the prize will be delivered home. When you are sending in your answers, you will have to type your name and age.
Answers typed in the YouTube live chat box will not be considered. Results will be announced at the end of today's performances. Repeating the number that you all need to WhatsApp your answers to 9841327673. So for the first question, true humility is not thinking less of yourself, it is thinking of yourself less. This wonderful quote was said by a British writer and theologian. Who was it? Repeating the question, true humility is not thinking less of yourself, it is thinking of yourself less. This wonderful quote was said by a British writer and theologian. Who was it?
King George V of England knighted Rabindranath Tagore in 1915 for his great contribution in the field of literature.
Oh, wow, that's quite interesting. Now we have Nikita, who is going to render a poem called Freedom by Rabindranath Tagore. Over to you, Nikita.
Hi, my name is Nikita, and today I'm going to recite a poem, Freedom by Rabindranath Tagore. Freedom from fear is the freedom I claim for you, my motherland. Freedom from the burden of the ages, bending your head, breaking your back, blinding your eyes to the beckoning call of the future. Freedom from the shackles of slumber, wherewith you fasten yourself at night stillness, mistrusting the staff that speaks of truths, adventurous paths. Freedom from the anarchy of destiny. All sails are weakly yielded to the blind uncertain winds, and are held to a hand ever rigid and cold as death. Freedom from the insult of dwelling in a puppet's world, where movements are started through brainless wires, repeated through mindless habits. Repeated through mindless habits to be stirred into a mockery of life. Thank you.
That was a lovely rendition of the poem, Nikita. Why is it that whenever I read Deathly Hallows, I feel that I finish the book so fast? Have you felt the same?
Yeah, I have felt that too, you know. Incidentally, Jane Austen once said, if a book is well written, I always find it too short. Now we have Sritarun here to talk about his favorite book. Over to you, Sritarun.
Hi everyone, I'm Sritarun. Today I'm going to tell you all about my favorite book, The Forefeathers. Ruskin Bond was born on 19th May 1934, is an award-winning writer of children's. Now we are going to see a story called The Forefeathers. This story is about Ruskin Bond and his three friends who called themselves the Forefeathers. One day when they were scrambling among the rocks, they found a lost baby. They panicked and took the baby to their teacher. They asked if the teachers could adopt it, but the teacher said, "Oh my, what shall we do? These boys are impossible. They have picked someone's child." "We should call the police," said another teacher. Just then, a group of villagers rushed in. "Kidnapper, you have kidnapped my child!" screamed a woman. "No, we found it under the plum tree before the panthers could," Bond said. Just then, my teacher said, "Why did you leave your baby alone? Where did you go?" "I just left my baby for 5 minutes under the plum tree so that I could collect the plums from the plum tree." Now we know why the plums have been missing mysteriously. "Who are the stealers?" said the teacher. The villagers went in guilt. The Forefeathers were very happy to solve the mystery and discover their first adventure. Now, before we end, I would like to tell you all why I like this story so much. It was very nice of the boys to taking care of the baby gently and bravely and took it to their teacher. And I like the brave teacher who who solved the mystery. And last, I would like to tell you that when I read this book first time, I couldn't stop reading until I finished the whole book. Thank you.
That was an awesome performance, Sri Tarun. Did you know that there are 8 museums for Rabindranath Tagore? 3 in India and 5 in Bangladesh.
Oh, wow, that's really interesting. Now we have Ananya, who is going to recite a poem called My Song by Rabindranath Tagore. Over to you, Ananya.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ananya S. Vijayan. I'm going to recite a poem named My Song by Rabindranath Tagore. The song of mine will wind its music around you, my child, like fond arms of love. This song of mine will touch your forehead like a kiss of blessings. When you are alone, to sit by your side and whisper in your ear. But when you are in crowd, it will fence you with aloofness. My song will be like a pair of wings to your dreams, which transport your heart to the heart of verge of unknowns. My song will be like a faithful star overhead when dark nights on over your road. My song will sit in the pupils of your eyes and carry your sight into heart of things. When my voice is silent in death, my song will speak in your living heart. Thank you.
Well done, Ananya. Hey, did you see Nanban? I love the movie.
What? You like that film? You should see the original, Three Idiots. It's awesome.
No, I like Nanban better because I'm a huge Vijay fan.
Vijay, seriously, he doesn't even know how to act. Like, how can you compare him and Amir Khan?
What? How dare you insult?
Okay. You know what? We'll settle this later. Now we have Ridhima, who is going to compare and contrast 2 of her favorite novels. Over to you, Ridhima.
Thank you, Palak. Hello, everyone. My name is Ritma, and today I'm going to compare and contrast two of my most favorite books.
Harry Potter and Famous Five. Harry Potter is a world famous book written by Joanne Kathleen Rowling, aka J.K. Rowling, who also wrote Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, The Tales of Beedle the Bard, and The Ichabod. Harry Potter and his two friends, Ronald Willis Weasley and Hermione Jane Granger, are called the Golden Trio because of all the good deeds and the things they did to save their beloved school, Hogwarts. Famous Five was written by author Enid Blyton. There are five main characters in the book. Three siblings called Julian, Dick, and Anne. They mostly spend their holidays adventuring with their tomboy cousin George and her dog Timmy. Harry Potter takes us to the world of magic, where there are witches and wizards, dragons and mermaids, and all sorts of other magical creatures and objects you can imagine of. Famous Five is more about adventuring, while Harry Potter takes us to the world of fantasy. It also connects us to human values. For example, the deep friendship between the Golden Trio is something that we all wish for in our lives. Or when Harry sees his parents in the mirror of their eyes, we can understand his pain of losing his parents and how he yearns to see them. And when Harry is rescued from the Dursleys by Fred, George, and Ron in their flying car. Famous Five is more about adventuring and bits of mischief. For instance, when George sneaks into a father's study. Harry Potter is a complex series in which an incident from the seventh book is connected to some incident in the first installment. The full story can only be understood when we read right from book number 1 to book number 7. We can read Famous Five from any book. Both these books open a world of imagination for us, transporting us to a land so different from ours, making us enjoy every bit of it, which is what a book is meant to do. Thank you.
What an amazing performance, Ridhima. Hey, did you know that when we create fantasies, we mostly tend to derive our thoughts based on already existing mythologies and fictitious stories?
That's quite interesting. Now we have Sahitra who is going to talk about fantasy and realism. Over to you, Sahitra.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Sahitra, and today I'll be speaking on the topic novels, fantasy versus realism. Fantasy and realism are genres of literature that tends to diverge people. One of the more curious sides to the criticism of children's literature is the urge to polarize fantasy and realism into rival genres, and to assert that children prefer one or the other, or progress from fantasy to realism, or vice versa. I'm 10 and I read a fair share of both genres. Sometimes it feels fantasy and realism are at war. Fantasy is accused of being shallow and mindless, while realism is blasted for being pretentious and boring. This debate has died and risen again many times. The oft-repeated logic is that serious readers prefer realism, while fantasy caters primarily to children or those who view reading to escape from reality. I believe escaping from reality is required sometimes and gives me immense pleasure personally. In fact, authors like Roald Dahl, J.K. Rowling, C.S. Lewis transport me to the world of fantasia where I dream, create, and imagine the impossible. The serious realist novel was for adult male readers, while fantasy and romance were relegated to the readership of women and children. This gendered perception is quite interesting though. Well, Tides of time are changing now. The peculiar thing about this marginalization of fancy is that all writing is fancy to some extent. Even realism is a constructed and imagined representation of reality, not reality per se. Fantasy just happens to be a more exaggerated departure from reality. One of the most obvious benefits of fantasy is that it allows readers to make connections between this fictitious scenario and their own social reality. The reason I feel slightly bored reading books in realism is because more or less of it usually takes place in our own lives. A realistic literary work depicts the world as it is, not as it could be. Realism focuses on ordinary people going about their ordinary lives in an ordinary world. The protagonist is ordinary rather than heroic, and the events are commonplace rather than extraordinary. Everything is normal except for one or two elements that go beyond the realm of possibility as we know it. Well, these were my thoughts about novels fantasy versus realism, and it was a pleasure sharing them with you all. Thank you.
Wow, superb, Sahitra. Hey, you know what? My birthday is coming soon.
Oh, wow. I know just the gift for you.
Oh, what is it?
A book.
A book?
Yes, a book. Did you know that a book is a gift that you can open again and again?
Oh, that's lovely. Now we have Darshan to talk about his favorite book. Over to you, Darshan.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Darshan, and today I'll be telling my oratorical. Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe by C.S. Lewis. Chronicles of Narnia, a famous series in which my favorite book is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. This book got published somewhere in the 1990s. This book has 17 chapters. The story begins with 4 siblings born to the same mother. Their names are Peter, Susan, Edmund, and Lucy. Lucy is the youngest. Edmund is the second youngest. Susan is the second eldest, and Peter is the eldest. They have no choice but to leave the city because of arrears. So they go to a mansion of a professor in another city. There they plan to explore the woods, the river, the mountains. But the day turns out rainy. So they go explore the mansion. When they were exploring, Lucy finds a wardrobe which can take people from this world to another world called Narnia. Edmund also gets a chance to meet Narnia, and he met the White Witch who conquered Narnia. And he falls in a trap for candy called Turkish delight. After some days, when they were playing baseball, Edmund hit the ball really high, which broke a window. When they ran inside to see what happened, they heard footsteps following them. So they went inside a room, and the room was the room where the wardrobe was. They went inside the wardrobe and locked them inside. For more, read the book, The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wizard. Wardrobe. Now available on online. My favorite part in this book is when the introduction, where they describe the characters in a beautiful manner. And the saddest part is when A fawn called Mr. Tumnus is who made Lucy get frozen solid by the white witch. I recommend this book for adventure and fantasy lovers. I rate this book in 5 stars, 4.5. Thank you.
That was an amazing performance. Now we have our special guest, Om Ishwar. Om Ishwar is a 7-year-old child prodigy. He is learning music from his grandfather, Professor P.P. Ramakrishnan, who is the professor and head of the violin department at Sri Swati Tirunal College of Music in Trivandrum and the retired principal of Chennai Government Music College in Palakkad. And his father, Ishwar Ramakrishnan, is an accomplished violinist. He is also part of the Divine Spiritual series Vande Guru Paramparam conducted by Sri Kuldeep Empai.
He won the first prize international level in the competition conducted by ISKCON Bangalore. Om has given a few concerts to his credit, which is a wonderful beginning to his musical journey. These concerts were praised and blessed by great musicians such as Padma Bhushan, Srimati K.S. Chitra, and violin maestro Sri Lalgudi G.J.R. Krishnan. Take the stage and rock the show, Om.
Namaskaram. Today I am going to sing Nannu Kanna Talli in Raga Sindhu Kannada set to Aditala composed by Saint Tyagaraja. Nannu Kanna Talli na bhagyama, 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 Nannu Kanna Talli going to conclude with a crispy tilana set to Rupakatalam in Raga Purvi. Thank you.
Now we will have an interaction session between Om Ishwar and Vijay sir. Over to you, sir.
It was to me, right?
Right, yes.
Okay.
First of all, lovely hearing you, Om. Fantastic. என்ன வயசாகுது உனக்கு?
8.
8 years old. My God, you're singing as if you're so experienced into it and many years of singing. On behalf of all of us at Alchemy, I want to wish you, it's a God's gift that you've got. Wonderful. And I'm so happy you have wonderful parents who are guiding you and, helping you move forward. So great effort, Ishwar sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Ishwar sir, when did you first identify that he could sing well? At what age was it?
so verse 3, he used to just sing little bit of swaras, and Om used to repeat that. So maybe when he was 3, he started learning actually, bit by little by little, by learning small songs, just by repeating a few swara passages. So he will repeat all those. So that's how started his learning.
Right. Om, இப்போ second question உனக்கு. Okay. Can I speak to you in Tamil or in English? Which is better for you?
Anything. Your wish.
Oh, hey, great. Okay. Okay. Do you understand the meaning of all the songs that you sing?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Tell him that his grandfather teaches the entire word by word meaning. So that's a separate class for him, the meaning for all kritis. Yeah.
Wow, wonderful. Because that shows his expression. Because as he was singing, and I also saw some of his videos on YouTube that you have posted, I could see his expression in those songs. He wasn't singing it he wasn't superficially singing it. I guess he was beginning to enjoy the portions and sing as he sings. I could see that. Which school do you go to, Om?
PSBB.
In Siriseri. Yeah.
Okay. PSBB in Siriseri. Very good. How many hours a day or a week do you practice to sing like this?
2 or 3 hours a day.
2 or 3 hours.
2 or 3 hours a day. Okay. Okay. Sir, how are you trying to balance between his practice and, because this is a question that I would like to ask you. It can help a lot of parents who are watching us and hearing, because there's a lot of pressure today where most of the parents think that school education, school homework, school assignment, extracurricular activities can be there. It's sorry, but it's looked as extracurricular activities. I don't subscribe to that thought. I feel every activity is equally important, as per each person's choice. How do you balance the time for him? How do you help him balance his time?
Actually, it's a blessing because of this COVID situation. He doesn't have to go to school. All these classes are online now. So he has a lot of time and he's not tired. Usually when he comes back from school, he's tired and he just gets back home in the evening. Now he has time in the afternoon, evening he's free, and he also has a lot of time to play. So everything is balanced now. School, music, time is also very crucial. So he plays around 2 to 3 hours daily. He plays for around 2 to 3 hours daily, and he also gets time for all these.
Lovely, sir. So happy to see that you're balancing it. You also happen to be a violinist by profession.
Yes. Yeah.
So how much of that is actually?
No, I think the time has changed.
Okay. How much of you are playing the violin?
Speaking about music as a profession,
I guess there's an internet lag,
Yeah, talking about music as a profession, it has changed a lot. People now really accept this as a profession now. In olden days, usually they will ask, "What's your job?" No, I'm a musician. No, what is your job? That's the question. So that's my job. And helping Om, sitting with the violin. Yeah, because we practice and which is a crucial thing, because if I play something else, he still has to manage and sing what he has to sing, because the violinist won't be playing the exact thing what he is singing. The violinist may not know the song that he knows. So he is getting used to all this by practicing with me. Yeah.
Fantastic. Om, what do you want to become when you grow up? I know you still have a lot of time to grow up. Just a question from your thought now. Do you want to be a singer when you grow up, or do you want to be somebody else?
I want to be a musician.
Hey, great. Okay, lovely. Which is your favorite game? Do you play? Your father said you play a lot of games. Which is your favorite game?
Cricket and badminton.
Hey, super. So cricket, what do you do? Batting, bowling?
I'll do both.
You do both. Lovely, lovely.
All around. Yeah.
Very nice. Do you read books, Om? Story books? Do you read story books? Which is your favorite story book?
Yeah.
All right, okay. Oh, it started. Then I'll hold this question. Which is your?
Yeah.
My favorite storybook is Akbar and Birbal.
Hey, lovely, lovely. This is the Read on Children's Literature Festival, and we are, so happy to see children reading books and picking up various materials from that and performing. On behalf of all of us at Alchemy, we wish Om and his family a lot of health, wealth, peace of mind, and a lot of music all through your life. And Om, we want to see you growing up as a wonderful musician and, globally bringing a lot of energy into this world. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Welcome. Over to you, Palak and Akshana.
Thank you, sir, for the wonderful interaction.
Palak, do you know not everyone can become a storyteller?
Why not? I can tell a story, you can tell a story, and I'm sure everyone can tell a story.
I accept, but not everyone can make you visualize the story. Not everyone can make you feel the emotions of the story. Storytelling is an art.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. As a matter of fact, we have Guru Priya who will be delivering a speech on storytelling as an art form. Stage is all yours, Guru Priya.
The strongest person in the world is a storyteller. They set visions, objectives, and values for an entire generation that is come. Hi everyone, my name is Guru Priya, and today I will be talking about storytelling as an art form. Before stories were written in words, people would memorize elaborate stories with meanings and morals and pass them on for generations. These morals shaped people and brought meaning in every action they did. After that, people started spending hours reading books, novels, and stories. But unfortunately, storytelling has become a lost art. When facts, information, values, and morals are put together in a story, you will hold the attention of the audience. At the same time, you will make the information valuable and memorable. This means that the story goes inside the mind of the listener. It helps them build paths more efficiently in their life from the values they've learned in the story, and they'll be able to communicate the details easily. We now have started listening to audiobooks as we have no time to sit and read. But it's nothing like listening and seeing the storyteller. Their expressions and body language will make you understand the story in a way that it gets connected to your heart. Storytellers work really hard in explaining interesting stories to us. They bridge gaps where everything has crumbled. They are adding so much of value and meaning to our life. The least we could do is appreciate them and support them. Thank you.
What a wonderful performance, Guru Priya.
Palak, since I've told you my favorite book, tell me, What is your favorite book?
Hard to choose because I've read so many.
True. Well, anyways, do you know what Divyashree's favorite book is?
Yeah. Well then, now we have Divyashri who will be talking about her favorite book. Over to you, Divyashri.
Hi all, my name is Divyashri Vike and today I will be talking about my favorite book. My favorite book's author is Rick Riordan. Rick Riordan is an American author well known for his most famous work called the Percy Jackson series. And my favorite book in the Percy Jackson series is The Titan's Curse. Well, before getting into the speech, I would like to talk about myself. I was not a bookworm, not a nerd, and I hated books. I used to prefer movies over books because I was just so lazy to read them. And I thought books were the most boring things in the world because I've never ever touched them. Instead, I would use them to make rockets. Yes, so that was my attitude towards books. But all of that has changed just after I read this book, which was again due to peer pressure. Now, in The Titan's Curse, Percy Jackson is the main character, and all of it takes place in the mythical version of the 21st century. And it all starts in Bahaba, Maine, where Grover tries to contact Percy Jackson as he found two half-bloods to be brought to Camp Half-Blood. And the main reason why all of this takes place in the mythical version of the 21st century is because Greek gods are mentioned all over the story, but it also talks about the modern times. The book is about the adventures of the 14-year-old demigod Percy Jackson as he and his friend go on a dangerous quest to rescue their 14-year-old demigod friend Annabeth Chase and the Greek goddess Artemis as they had been kidnapped by the Titans. The book is so good, you must read it. Right now, I may sound like an advertisement, except for the fact that you guys can skip me. Okay, not funny. Anyways, the main reason why I love this story is number one, it's fantasy. Number two, it's about the Greek myths. I love to read about the Greek myths. And I'm a kind of a person who believes anything and everything. Now, coming to the plot of The Titan's Curse. The plot of The Titan's Curse is about how Luke tries to convince Thalia so that she could join them, kill the sea cow, and have the power to bring down Olympus. I love the characters because the characters were heroic, funny, and more importantly, evil at the same time. And the author did an amazing job by putting in a lot of twists and turns, and the story was very easy to read, and there was some funny thing he put in there. The Titan's Curse is a 10 stars because the conflicts of the story were told in detail. Like, how did they do that? Why did they do that? Who did it? It was just spot on. And it's a 5 for the best books I've ever read. Well, this is because, number one, it's packed with action. Number two, it makes so much sense at the end. Please read it. Thank you all.
Wow, what a fabulous performance!
Now, for our second question. Before going to the question, here are a few rules.
You will have to WhatsApp your answers to the number displayed here, 9841327673. The first person who sends in their answer gets to win a special prize. Don't worry, the prize will be delivered home. When you are sending in your answers, you will have to type your name and age.
Answers typed in the YouTube live chat box will not be considered. Results will be announced at the end of today's performance. Repeating the number, you all need to WhatsApp your answers to 9841327673. 7-3. Quiz question 2. This famous children's poet was an accomplished painter and music composer. He published his first book of paintings at the age of 19 and has set some of Alfred Tennyson's poems to music too. Name this poet. Repeating the question, this famous children's poet was an accomplished painter and music composer. He published his first book of paintings at the age of 19 and has set some of Alfred Tennyson's poems to music too. Name this poet.
Now, on to our performance. Did you know that the poem Hope is the Thing with Feathers, written by Emily Dickinson, has ranked among the greatest poems in the English language, and it is one of Emily Dickinson's most famous poems?
Wow! Now that's an interesting fact. Moving forward, we have Sarah, our next performer, who will be rendering the poem Hope is the Thing with Feathers by Emily Dickinson. The stage is all yours, Sarah.
Hello everyone, my name is Shaya. Today I will be presenting a poem called Hope is a Thing with Feathers by Emily Dickinson. Hope is a thing with feathers that perches in the sky and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. And sweetest in gale is heard, and so must be the storm that could have bashed the little bird that kept so many warm. I've heard it in the chilliest land and on the strangest sea, yet never in extremity. It has the ground of me. Thank you.
Nice. What a wonderful rendition of this poem, Sarah.
Akshara, I'm currently reading the best book so far by Liz Pigeon. Every time I read a new book, that becomes my favorite till I read the next one.
Oh, really? I find myself doing the same thing. Well, anyways, now we have our next performer, Pragadishwaran, who is going to talk to us about his favorite book. Over to you,
Pragadishwaran.
Hello everyone, my name is Pragadishwaran. Today I'm going to talk about my favorite book. My favorite book is the series of Geronimo Stilton. Geronimo Stilton is an Italian children's book series written by Elisabetta Adami. The series has sold over 180 million copies worldwide, and with 214 edition, it is one of the best-selling books ever written. The book has been translated into 49 languages with more transitions to come. Geronimo Stilton, a nerdy mouse, is the protagonist in the immensely popular book series. He lives in New Mouse City, Mouse Island. He is the editor of the Rosen Gazette, Mouse Island's most famous newspaper. Though he wants to lead a quiet, peaceful life, he always ends up having a jolly good adventure in far-off exotic places. In his adventure, he is aided by his family members, Thea, Benjamin, and Track. The book is very interesting because for the following reasons: colorful and engaging interiors with colorful art and text embellishments on each interior spread. Even reluctant readers get engaged and eager to dive into each page. Fascinating facts on ancient and modern Rome. This book is non-fiction facts to a fun fiction storyline. It's a great companion for any reader learning about history or geography in the classroom, and for readers with an interest in travel and Italian culture. Tools for readers to retain historical facts. The series are particularly valuable for readers who find it challenging to relate to historical events. Humor and adventure. Geronimo Stilton as a series is rich with everything the children love in their books. They replete with humor, they have nail-biting adventure, featuring acts, set pieces in an age-appropriate and non-violent way. Connect with real life. Geronimo Stilton values happiness, imagination, magic, fantasy, family, peace, courage, friendship, humor, and overcoming adversity. We all could do a bit of Geronimo Stilton in our life. I'm anxiously looking forward to reading all the series of Geronimo Stilton soon one day. Thank you.
Wow, Pragadishwaran, nice performance.
Palak, I remember reading the review of the book few days ago, and it seems quite interesting. I might buy it in the coming days.
Oh, that's nice. I hope it turns out to be as interesting as mentioned in the review. Now we have our next performer, Sai Sana, who will be telling us all about her favorite book. Stage is all yours, Sai Sana.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Asna and I'm going to talk about my favorite book, Ruskin Bond, Wisdom of Stories. Now I'm going to explain the story in a short way. The hero of the story is Vishnu. Vishnu lived on a hillside with his mother and his sister Priya. They were dependent on a monsoon for occupation. Unfortunately, the monsoon rain delayed that year and they were unable to sow and reap. So Vishnu moved to the town for a serving. He worked in a tea stall but was not satisfied and happy. Later he searched for a job as a quarry. He was appointed as the helper for a truck driver named Preetham Singh. One day Preetham's truck met with an accident, so which he sold the truck. So Vishnu lost his job once again and he decided to return to his village. His mother and sister welcomed him happily. Finally, Vishnu decided to work in his field and then never leave his village. I like Vishnu. He worked as a tea seller and slept in a corridor. He was satisfied with his work and the life. He worked as a cleaner and was not happy to see the deforestation and the blasting of the mountains, turning dusty and losing their greeneries. The theme of simplicity continues with a wonderful, elegant illustration that can be found throughout the book. The delicate beauty of the characters are clearly depicted by stating intricate qualities and the action of their overall personality. Overall, I enjoyed the journey of this book and each chapter was a new learning experience. I am delighted to have a good story that shows me a reality of life. I strongly recommend other children to read this book without missing. Thank you.
That was an amazing performance, Saisana.
Jane Yolen is the author and editor of more than 350 books, of which the best known is The Devil's Arithmetic, a Holocaust novella.
Interesting. Moving forward, we have Anirudh, who is going to perform a poem called Read to Me by Jane Yolen. Over to you, Anirudh.
Hi everyone, my name is Anirudh. I'm going to recite a poem named Read to Me by Jane Yolen. Read to me riddles and read to me rhymes. Read to me stories of magical times. Read to me tales of castles and kings. Read to me stories of fabulous things. Read to me pirates and read to me knights. Read to me dragons and dragon book fights. Read to me spaceships and cowboys, and then when you are finished, please read them again. Thank you.
Wow, that was a splendid performance, Anirudh. Do you know, my dad is crazy about books. He keeps collecting them.
What? I didn't get you. He collects them or reads them?
He collects and reads as well. His favorite authors are R.K. Narayan and Sudhamurti.
That's really nice. He seems to like simple and great Indian authors. Let's call upon our next performer, Satvik, who would like to tell us about his favorite book. The stage is all yours, Satvik.
Hello everybody, I'm Satvik Santosh and am going to be talking about my favorite book series, Harry Potter. The Harry Potter series consists of 7 books and a play called Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. It is authored by J.K. Rowling and is the second most read book in the world. In my opinion, the most interesting book out of all of the 7 is the 5th book, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. In the book, Harry goes on with his life as a wizard and goes to the Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. He then finds out that there is a teacher who hates all children. But still, Harry defies all odds and goes to there. In the end, he fights Voldemort, his enemy, and finds out that there is a prophecy. And that's the reason why Voldemort wants to kill Harry. There was a big fight. And this story is very, very crucial to the whole storyline, since it tells about why the story is going on like this. If anybody likes fantasy or magic, I highly recommend reading the Harry Potter series. It's so good. Thank you.
Wow, Satvik, that was fabulous. I remember that when I was small, my grandma used to read a lot of fairy tales to me.
Palak, what is she doing? Oh my God, wake up! We're in the middle of something really important here.
Oops, sorry, got lost in my memories.
Anyways, moving forward, we have Diksha who will be talking about her favorite fairy tale. The stage is all yours, Diksha.
Hi everyone, my name is Diksha Barajan and today I am speaking my favorite book, Sleeping Beauty. Sleeping Beauty is my favorite book because it's not a tragedy but has a happy ending with some good characters. The main characters are Aurora and Prince Philip. My favorite part in this fairy tale is when Aurora talks about her dream boy who she saw in the forest. When the 3 fairies, Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather, who make a birthday cake and a dress for Aurora. This fairy tale was made into movie in the year 1959. This movie was produced by Walt Disney. Let me tell you about this fairy tale. Do you know Sleeping Beauty was written by Grimm Brothers, also wrote many other fairy tales. Other reason I like this fairy tale, it has a beautiful moral in it, which is always obey your parents. My suggestion is that every child should read this book at least once in their life. Thank you.
Wow, Diksha, what a fabulous performance. Akshara, do you like chocolate cake?
What? We were talking about books. What a random topic.
It is not a random topic.
What? How?
Because our next performer, Mithun, is going to be performing a poem called Chocolate Cake by Michael Rosen.
Oh, go ahead, Mithun, for a mouth-watering performance. The stage is all yours.
My name is Mithun, and I'm going to present the poem called Chocolate Cake by Rosen Michael. I love chocolate cake. When I was a boy, I loved it even more. We had it for tea, and my mother used to say that we'll get to the school if there is any peace. Tomorrow I'm going to take to the school and I eat in the playtime. I open a lid and eat. You know that the upper part is icing and shining, and if you bite a little, there is another part in the middle. It sticks on your lips and your hands with hands. It's just tasty. Hey! Thank you.
Thank you, Mithun. Nice performance.
A good book is one which inspires us and motivates us to do good and be good.
Is it? Which book has done that to you? Let me guess. Is it Calvin and Hobbes? Oh my God.
No, Palak. It's a book by a former and late President J. Abdul Kalam. It's called Ignited Minds.
That's great. Our next performer, Kushal, will speak about his favorite book. Over to you, Kushal.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kushal, and today I'm going to talk about the book that I fancied, Five Off to Billycock Hill, from the famous Five series, written by Enid Blyton. The main reason I chose this book is because it made me feel like I was on vacation with the five, when in reality, I was just at my home. The details were so accurate that I was able to smell the fresh jasmines they had picked up this morning and taste the finger-licking sandwiches. The five, Dick, Julian, Anne, George, along with their pet dog, Timothy, with a week's holiday, are off to Billycock Hill. Billycock Hill is a place which has beautiful views, butterfly and moth farms, thrilling caves, and exotic animals. The five, accompanied by Toby, a friend from a local farmhouse, encounter a mystery that surrounds a secret airfield nearby when two planes suddenly go missing on a stormy night. While the five wanted to have an ordinary vacation, adventure just couldn't stay away from them when they befriended Jeff, Toby's cousin, who's a pilot working in the secret airfield, suddenly disappears in one of those planes on the night. The five, along with Toby's help, begin to suspect people from the butterfly farm and are determined to crack the mystery to save their friend. But when ruthless villains are hot on their tails, they realize that the police aren't the best option. So, will they be able to crack the mystery and save their friend in time? Or will they be captured by the villains to never be heard of again? Read the book to find it out yourself. And please remember to not share the spoilers with anybody who haven't read the book. Thank you.
Wow, Kushal. Awesome speech.
Akshara, have you read any plays by Indian playwrights?
No, I don't think I have.
Really? Come on. Haven't you read Silence, the Court is in Session, or like Ivam Indrajit or Chandalika?
Not really.
Oh, come on. Seriously? You know what? Never mind. Now, let us hear what Lakshana has to say about the evolution of Indian drama. Over to you, Lakshana.
Thank you, Palak. Hello, everyone. My name is Lakshana, and today I'm delighted to talk about the evolution of Indian drama. Theatre, an ancient art form, has traveled with us for centuries, evolving in some new way, either by invention or by modification, as it touches every part of the world and its civilizations. Yes, theatre has been a significant part of our lives without our knowing. English drama and its history of evolution has been credited with great significance by many across the world. But just like in everything, India has also been a part of this evolutionary journey of bringing theatre alive. So today, I would love to credit India for its appreciable contribution in developing theatre. The history of theatre in India can be traced back to the 15th century BCE. Though Indian theatre was very unique, it started because of the same reason for which other theatres across the world started. Yes, the ancient Indians used this noble art form to praise their gods. They did anything to please their gods. The early evidence of theatre in India was derived from the ancient Buddhist literature and Buddhist philosopher Asvagosha, who composed the Buddha Charita, is said to have been the first Sanskrit dramatist. Though theatre in India might have started as early as the 15th century BCE, it flourished from the 2nd century BCE. The earliest surviving evidence of theatre in India can be traced back to the 2nd century BCE. The Vedas do not offer us much information on this topic, although some portions of it are composed in a form of dialogue. The main source of Sanskrit theatre was the Natya Shastra, which means the treatise on theatre, which was composed by Bharata Muni. The date of composition is, however, uncertain. Although this Natya Shastra is said to be the most complete work of dramaturgy in the ancient world. It addressed acting, dance, music, costuming, makeup, props, and architecture. Vedic texts such as the Rig Veda also tell us a bit about theatre in India. Okay, all this is good. But how exactly did theatre begin in India? Well, that sadly remains uncertain. But the Mahabhasya by Patanjali contains the earliest reference to what may have been the seeds of Sanskrit theatre. This piece of work from 140 BCE provides a feasible date for the beginnings of theatre in India. Plays were being performed in royal courts in praise of the rulers or in praise of gods. There were many great Indian playwrights, authors, and poets who made ancient Indian drama possible. But since the time of Alexander the Great, India had been in direct contact with Greece, and this led to a scholarly debate on how much influence ancient Greece had on India. From the 1st till the 10th century AD, theatre flourished in India. And during the Islamic conquests in India during the 10th and 11th century AD, theatre practices were almost forgotten and forbidden. Later, in an attempt to cheer up and make people understand the importance of theatre, village theatres were practiced from the 15th to the 19th century AD. Modern Indian theatre was developed abundantly under the British colonial rule, and after the Indian independence in 1947, theatre spread across India as a form of entertainment. That was a brief overview of theatre in India, but there is more to it if you go ahead and research about it. Indian theatre played a significant role in the lifestyles and cultures of our ancestors, and it still plays a significant part in our lives, and it will still remain significant in our lives and cultures for the years to come, making it an immortal and divine art form which we all have to cherish and support forever. Thank you.
Wow, Lakshana, that was a powerful performance. Did you know we have had 189 performances so far in the Read On Children's Literature Festival?
And that brings us to the end of today's performances. Before we end the show, here are the results of today's quiz. The answer to the first question is C.S. Lewis, and the winner is Sarah. The answer to the second question is Edward Lear, and the winner is Ridhima. Congratulations, winner.
With that, we end today's program. I hope you all had a wonderful time. We will be back next Sunday at 6:30 p.m. on Alchemy Kids Theatre YouTube channel for another set of amazing performances. Till then, take care and good night.